Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm sharing a window card as part of the Newton's Nook Designs February release blog hop. I will leave links to the blog hop in the video description below so you can see what the rest of the designers are up to, but for today I'm showing you a card with the Naughty Newton stamp set. I wanted to use the image of Newton in the litter box. The images in this set are really fun and cute, and they're great for scrapbooking your pets, but also would be fun for some different kinds of cards. And I really thought that the "that stinks" sentiment was excellent, but I wanted to kind of create a little bit of surprise with the card, and so I'll be decorating the outside of the card and then adding the "that stinks" and the image of Newton in the inside of the card. I want to create a window so that you will see Newton's head popping out of the front of the card, but then when you open it up, you'll kind of get the full context. So when the card is closed, it will just look like there's a picture of a cat, but when you open it up, you'll get that surprise of the litter box image. So this card is actually half the size of a normal card. A normal card is, or sorry, not normal, but A2 kind of standard card that for card makers is 8.5 by 5.25, and this is half of that. And so I've also cut the yellow paper here with a 1/4-inch border around it. I'm taking these stickers from Lawn Fawn, and this pattern paper is also from Lawn Fawn. These are definitely part of an older collection, and I was just trying to find some stickers that I had on hand to spell out a custom sentiment. I thought it would be easier than stamping a custom sentiment, and the size worked out pretty well so that I could still fit the circle with Newton on it. And so I'm just spelling out "bad day" with a question mark because I thought that would be kind of a good lead into the "that stinks" sentiment. So if someone were having a bad day, I could save this card just to cheer them up and give them a little bit of fun on the inside. So once I've laid out those stickers in the bottom right hand corner, thinking about leaving room for my circle, I'm going to adhere the yellow piece of paper to the card base. Then I will use the circle die to cut through both layers at the same time by taping it on. And then when I run it through the die cut, it will cut through both layers because they're already attached, and it will create a window in my card. And you can do this with any die cut shape simply by adhering the die over all the letters before sending it through your die cut machine. So now that I have the window, I'm thinking about how to stamp Newton, and in order to get the positioning of Newton correct, I'm going to take a pencil and trace the die cut circle so that way his head will fit in it perfectly and I can erase it when I'm finished stamping. I will be coloring with Spectrum Noir colored pencils, and so I'll be using archival ink because it just creates a really nice, crisp, dark impression. And I will be using the same ink for my sentiment, and so there's no reason to pull out two different kinds of ink because the Spectrum Noir pencils work with pretty much any ink. It's not like Copics where you have to use a very specific kind of ink. So I just make sure that the positioning is correct. I'll erase that circle, and then I can come in with the colored pencils. I'm also, like I said, stamping that sentiment in there so it's that little surprise, and then I'll write a personalized note to the recipient as a part of the way to cheer them up. When I color with the colored pencils today, I am going to be using the orange set of pencils, because each of the Spectrum Noir pencils comes with little groupings of 3 of each color, and that way you don't really have to think about which ones to use to blend. It will just automatically blend well in those groupings. And so I have like I said, the Essentials pack and some Gamsol that I will use to blend out the pencils. You see there that I dried it with the heat gun to just make sure that I wouldn't get any spreading as I went to color. With the Spectrum Noir colored pencils, and I think with any colored pencils, the best method is to lay down the lightest color completely all over the image and then start with the other colors and blending. With Copic markers you can start with the darker and blend from there, but I didn't find that that worked with colored pencils, so I'm always going to start with the lightest. And after I've laid out a complete covering or wash of the lightest color, I'll blend it out with Gamsol, and then I will add a little bit of the medium color and then into the darkest color. When coloring Newton, I want to create shadows in the places that would, logically have shadows, like where his head meets his body. And you always hear me say that your shadows are going to be where the aspects meet, because the thing that's on top will create a shadow on the bottom, like his head's going to create a shadow onto his body, but also that the litter box is going to create a shadow onto him. But I also use the shadowing, the shading, to create a sense of dimension. And so in this case, by adding a little bit of some darker colors on the top of his body and the bottom of the body, it gives him more of a rounded feel. And you'll also see that I'm adding some darker shadows to the left and right side of his face and leaving the center lighter, again, to give that feeling of him having dimension. And one reason that I chose to use the colored pencils today is because I'm coloring directly onto the card base, and Copic markers will bleed through cardstock. Well, at least the cardstock that I use Georgia Pacific 110-pound cardstock, and it's available at Walmart, and I always link to it, also available on Amazon. But it will bleed through that. And normally that's not a problem, because then I am mounting my colored image onto a card base. But in this particular instance, this is my card base, and so colored pencils made sure that I didn't have to worry about that particular concern. But beyond that, I also like the way that colored pencils allow you to get texture a little bit more easily in terms of fur and other animals, other different, textures you'd find on animals. And so for that reason, I am leaning a little bit more towards colored pencils in certain situations, particularly if I want to create the feeling of them being fuzzy, what I would with Newton in this case. I'm using a little bit of pink for his ears and nose, and then I chose to blend out with 2 of the shades of purple. If you find that you don't need as much dimension in a particular area, you can definitely go with just the 2 colors instead. And then that will complete my card today. So it's just a simple window card using these really hilarious and adorable images from Newton's Nook. I will link you to the blog hop below where you can enter to win these stamps, and I will also leave you products in the description box below if you're interested in any of them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing more crafty videos, you can subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.